It's a special punters guide because we're back at Cheltenham for the 3-day November meeting, one of the biggest meetings, if not the biggest meeting outside of the festival at Presby Park. And Frankie, you're going to be there this weekend. And we say it every year, but so many runners from this meeting come on and win or go very close to the festival, isn't it? I mean, just go show that course of distance form so important at Cheltenham.
Yeah, I think that's why this is popular. It's got to be one of my favourite weekends of the year. It's a real buzz around Cheltenham. As you see, get to see those horses that could go on and win at the festival. And it's a great race. It's just a great meeting. It's not the festival, but it's definitely one of my favourite weekends. And we have got some good racing to look forward to this weekend.
Yeah, and the invasion of the Irish Joel is over once again. We start with the 145. A 2 mile novices chase. It's an Arkle trial. There was some crackers. Banbridge won at the festival here, taking on Monmoral. Pentland Hills, who did a little walkover the other day for Nicky Henderson, and Tommy's Oscar as well, who won a match. It's a cracking way to start the weekend.
Yeah, Pentland Hills looked really good the other day, going those 3 furlongs. I tell you what, Nico de Bell, he was not happy about that. I think he was tuning and ready to go. That's really interesting. This race is really decent. Favourite, look, beaten 14 lengths by Epperton at Aintree. First time over fences. It is Nichols, but are you what is it, 9-4 now? It was 5-4 earlier in the week. Tommy's Oscar. It's a heart above the head thing. I've backed Banbridge at 33-1 in the Arkle. I've had a fiver each way just for a bit of fun because it's going to be a lot shorter after this weekend. There's not a lot to go on apart from one very easy at Gurren Park last month in that beginner's chase. Made all, jumped well, looked really, really good, travelled strongly. It's an Irish horse, so we're starting the Saturday with Joseph O'Brien, JJ Slevin. I think it's a pretty decent bet. I'd be really chuffed for Tommy's Oscar because, as everybody would, for Anne Hamilton and Danny McMenamin. But I think if we're talking about making money this weekend, Banbridge for me, and maybe that 33-1 will not be there after this race.
No, probably be 66s, Frankie. You think it's going to Ireland, or you think it's going to stay with us?
Give him some respect, Joel. Tommy's Oscar. Give him some respect. I think he can go and win this. Banbridge seems to have taken a little bit of cash, which always pricks your ears when an Irish horse comes over and shortens up a little bit. I'd be in agreement. I wouldn't be having the favourite. But I'm going to go with Tommy's Oscar. Yeah, just look at, ratings over hurdles. Jumped really well in that. I know it was a 2-runner race, but jumping well when asked to find is something I'd look for horses going to Cheltenham. You've got to jump those last 2 fences really well. And horses, when they're asked for more and then struggle coming to a fence, if you fluff the last 2, you've got no chance getting up the hill.
Good point. He's
Tommy's
jumped
Oscar,
at pace. Some of these haven't. He has jumped at pace, hasn't he?
He has. Yeah, it was a good finish to that 2-runner race, and he jumped really well to finish the race really strongly. And I think the same will happen again at Cheltenham. If he gets into a good race coming down the hill and pings the last 2, then he could well be the first up the hill. So, yeah, Tommy's Oscar. I wouldn't put you off a bet on that and take the drift.
There you are. Banbridge for Joel, Tommy's Oscar for Frankie Wright. The big betting race of the weekend is the Paddy Power Gold Cup. Love this race. Incredible thing, Cool Cody having his 16th start at Cheltenham this weekend. That's an incredible start. 16 go to post, though. Plenty of usual suspects is what the jumps game is all about. I'll start with you this time, Frankie. You can have a couple against the field if you like as well.
Thank God. This is real tricky, isn't it? I'm gonna go with 2, and one, as I said, is another Sam Thomas horse, Stolen Silver. You just kind of follow this horse's progression. One, it's novice chase. Second to Editor de Geek, round Cheltenham, who loves Cheltenham. Then went up into kind of graded race as with Edwardstone, third time lucky. Was no good, not good enough for that. But then dropped back into a handicap at Sandown. Wincanton. Came third, jumping poorly. 4th at the festival off a 144, and then won really well around here last time out. Everything looks great. Course form, handicap mark's not savage, still has a little bit of improvement left. I think Stolen Silver has a great chance. Another at a bit better of a price, Galahad Quest, I think came fifth in this last year off of £4 higher. Has gone in some good handicaps behind Captain Or, Kitty's Light, Emrillo, who we didn't unfortunately see, but all horses which seem to be well handicapped off that day at Kempton. And made a decent start for a new trainer last time out. So Galahad Quest to come here and go better than last year, I think, is another great bet.
I'm all over Galahad Quest. Really fancy him this weekend. You mentioned that, yeah. He finished fifth here in this last year. He's lowering the handicap. He's finished second here as well. He's had a pipe opener. Jane Williams' first stable form really did worry me, which had a winner at Bangor on Wednesday and another couple run better as well. I think off just Turnstone 3, I think he's going to be let loose. And I think he's got a huge chance. He was much bigger, 20-1 earlier on the week. He's almost single figures now. So the market's certainly speaking in his favour. I'm with you. I really fancy Galahad Quest. What are your two, Joel?
Well, Cool Cody, as you mentioned, Cheltenham horse, one of my favourite horses in training. Now, at this point, this is where you probably, turn off your Zoom call or whatever it is. And bear with me on this. Simply the bets. Right. Okay. So David Maxwell, stay with me, has bought 3 horses this week from Paul Nicholls, and he had to buy all 3 together. Now, he was on a podcast this week, David Maxwell, who seems like the nicest man on the planet. He's a rich guy. He rides his own horses, and he's a shocking amateur jockey, right? He's a lot braver. He's a lot braver than I am, and he takes the mick out of himself and whatever. And he said, I asked Paul Nicholls what he thinks. He went, if Bryony rides it, it wins. However, so he went, that's not going to happen. So it was 154 last year. Now 152. You stick on David Maxwell's £20 on top of that. It's 20-1. There's loads of pace in this race. I can't. I'm being nice, but because he seems such a nice guy, but he's riding against professionals in the race, and it's not going to happen. It's Sunday League players against Premier League players, World Cup players, whatever. Lots of pace in the race, but 20-1.
About a stone and a half swing with my selection as well, Stolen Silver.
Yeah, I just think Cool Cody makes it. David Maxwell sits in behind. David Maxwell it does come down to jockey. Now, you look at a £7 claimer or £7 conditional that you've never seen before. You don't know how good or bad they are. With David Maxwell, you know what you're getting. You do know what you're getting. You're not getting that from a professional jockey. So at 20-1, you stick Bryony on there. I think he's pretty much, second, third favourite. 20-1, probably go 50-1 on the day. I think it's a really good fun bet if you can get enhanced each way claims. And I would be so chuffed for him. He loves the game and it gets over the line. Simply the bets for me. Each way play.
You've done a great job of being nice to a man personally that you've called a horrendous jockey.
It would be a bit like saying, look, you look at Matt. I mean, I love Matt, but he's never going to be a male model. You know what I mean? It's that sort of thing, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Or a jockey.
Hang on.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's move on to the 255, Joel. Jatalui, you can go through the whole spiel once again about David Maxwell.
Horse is no good, neither's a jockey. Moving on.
Got 3 miles of the trip for the 255. Another cracking contest.
Hey, money is down for this one. I don't know if you've seen it at Betfred. Is it Annual Invictus? Is the money horse. 20s earliest week into 9-2. Chris Gordon, Tom Cannon, back over hurdles. Won over fences last October at Cheltenham. Been waiting for the ground. Was pulled out of Fontwell at the end of September. I think in these sort of meetings, the money talks. The money talks. Back over hurdles. Chris Gordon, like we said earlier on. Tom Cannon on board. I think that the money talks for this one. My opinion, Frankie?
Yeah. Well, we've just spoke about David Maxwell for half an hour. And I actually think
he's a lovely man. He's a lovely fella.
His Jatalui is an extremely consistent 3-miler that is always in and around the placings of the third, fourth, second, first over various staying trips, and actually doesn't have the worst chance in the world at 20s. Sidi Ismail, I think, is one that could be well handicapped, but I mean, when you chuck in a horse that's rated 127 against some of these bigger names that are up in the 140s, 150s, I think it's a hard task. I'm actually of the same opinion. I couldn't really find a whole lot I liked in this. Saw a bit of cash for Andon and Victor's. He's had the class over fences. As you said, they pulled him out of a race last time, and they've probably come here with a lively chance, hence the money. So I'm in the same boat, but I really don't have a strong opinion, if I'm honest.
There we are. Then it can be an each way plan. Jatalui. Right, I'm going to start with Joel in this 330 because I know how he loves these intermediate handicap hurdles. Right, looking at this at the minute, Nicky Henderson's Wise Guy in the Magnet Silk's his favourite. You've got Cole Murphy with a lurker here, El Perfecto. You've got Tony Martin getting unanswered, sneaking in the bottom, and you've got Time Flies By also for Nicky Henderson in the JP Silks. This is a punter's minefield, Joel.
If we're going back 15, 20 years, you just looked at this and you saw AJ Martin and you'd go duck egg, duck egg, duck egg, duck egg, one. Okay, let's have a look back here. And then the comedy, the handicapping mark between Ireland and Great Britain. So this unanswered from Tony Martin has been running on the flat. At Punchestown, he won by 8.5 lengths. Now, that was going back a little while ago. I think it was last May. And I had a look at that. Again, this weekend, I think you've got to look at the Irish coming over, but you've also got to look at the money. And I know it's not the Tony Martin, every gamble that you used to have seemingly used to come off. The one next to all the duckheads puts me off a little bit, just in the bare foot, because you always want to back a Tony Martin horse with a row duck eggs. I'm going with the money. I'm going with the money because, like you say, it's a punter's nightmare. And I think I would go unanswered this weekend. Wise Guy for Nicky and Nico de Boinville are flying, as you'd expect, in the silks of it's a JP Silks. It's not JP Silks, Magnus Silks, isn't it?
Magnus Silks, yeah.
Yeah. There's now else down the bottom that there's a lot here that I don't think will be fit. So yeah, you've just got to go for the money, haven't you? When you see Tony Martin and pretend it's like 2004 all over again, unanswered.
Yeah, remember the Xenophon winning the Coral Cup 4-1. Right, Frankie, 330. What do you fancy?
Yeah, another tricky one. As you said, another Irish horse that has recently come over and won at Aintree. I think Mayon's Glory has a chance to go in again at a decent each way price. In the mixer over in Ireland, enough times around the 2.5 mile trip, second, fourth, third, through the summer, and then came back from a break, winning us. And then changed trainer and back from a break, winning at Aintree. Has gone up in the weights a fair bit from 114 to 123, but won well at Aintree. New trainer. Some improvements still left in there, I think, from Mayon's Glory.
Yeah, Dr. Eland, always a danger in these kind of races as well. So that's Saturday wrapped up. Quickly, boys, what are your thoughts on Sunday? A couple of races on Sunday. We'll start with the Schlur Chase very quickly. We're not quite sure decks yet, but it looks like Edward Stone's going to clash with Nube Negra in the Schlur Chase. Frankie, which one comes out on top?
Edward Stone wins. It's a no contest for me at all. It's not a contest, not a no contest. Edward Stone, I think, I'm looking at, odds on already. Be sure to come the day. Will just go and win, in my opinion. Top class chaser, as we saw last season, and there's nothing really to put me off him.
Joel, do you agree?
Yeah, underrated horse. You know how big I was on our road to Cheltenham last year for Edward Stone. We got him 8-1 for the Arkle. Won that as you please. Nube Negra, I don't like this horse whatsoever. Watch the last fence as well because he just looks like he's coming down every time. So I think Edward Stone and Editor de Geets probably to finish second. Nube Negra, not for me. Chuckle Brothers ain't been having a great week.
Well, they had a double at Bangor.
This will be my tip for the weekend would be have a bet before, if you're going racing all 3 days, have a chunk on Edward Stone before any Friday and Saturday racing. So if it all goes wrong, you just wake up Sunday morning and get your money back on Edward Stone.
You hope it's still there. Right, Joel, I'll start with you for the Great Wood Place. Always a cracker, this 2 mile handicap. The Skelton's got a good record in this, but there may be another potential Irish gamble, Mr. Emmett Mullins.
I have 3 pages of notes here, and 2.5 pages are about Thousand Tears, Emmett Mullins, Paul Byrne. As we look at the minute, as time of recording, is there a jockey booked? Because
No.
this was the interesting thing for me. So went to Emmett Mullins in July, ran Galway on the flat. That run, as you would expect, was very slowly away, made headway, weakened, finished another never closing ninth. I would be really interested because the rumours were this morning on one of the forums that David Russell was come over to ride it, and hence why the money would have come. I can't back it at that price. You know, there's some gambles and there's gambles, and these are the right guys to have gambles. One of our horses from last year, Matt, we put up several times, didn't let us down, and we're getting a better price now. I like to move it. Won twice at Cheltenham in October and November last year. I think the more money comes for the Emmett Mullins horse, I think the bigger price we get, and run his race. It was we were big fans of it last year, weren't we? Did we is it Tritonic that everybody's putting up odds on it? And I remember going, we recorded at the time, it was like 5-1 and went off, I think, favourite in the end. Done out wrong, and I think I like to move it this weekend.
Yeah, you're second in Betfred. I really like Sonagino in this. I was really taken with this chap, so I know he's up £10, but I think he's a fast improving 5-year-old for Paul Nicholls. Frankie, what do you fancy in the Greatwood?
Yeah, I agree. Sonagino's got a great chance. Is that's like going to run? Yeah.
Dad's lad? Yeah, supposed to be, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be going in with Dad's lad again. He got us off to a good start, didn't he? Won at Cheltenham last time. He had to fight for it, but they were 12 or 13 lengths clear of third. I'm just looking at the handy. He's got a rating of 128 for that last time at Cheltenham.
He's back over hurdles.
A bit lenient, and another. That'd be why. That's why I'm getting confused. I thought, what's going on here? Yeah, Dad's that. I mean, it's an interesting one, isn't it? They came over and he was well handicapped and proved it when winning over fences, and now they're coming over again over hurdles, and it could just be the similar story. Is that since his last kind of couple of chases, and then if you go back to hurdles, he's just well handicapped again. They're basically repeating the same sort of process over a different obstacle on a different mark. So I mean, I don't see any reason why Dad's lad can't go and win this again for Willie Mullins.
Yeah, always a man to be fair. Of course, the Colonel of Closutton. Right, Frankie, what will be your best bet over Saturday or Sunday at Cheltenham this weekend, please?
Well, Edwardstone, as I said, but that's odds on at the time of recording, let alone on the morning of. So that will be very short. Oh God, one for the big race. I'm gonna stick with Sam Thomas again. I'd have to. I did put up 2, and we both agreed that Galahad Quest has got a great chance as an each-way bet. But Stolen Silver, I think this could be his day to go and win a bit of a bigger race than maybe he has.
Well, he's done you well so far, hasn't he? Before midnight and I'll dance the last 2 weeks, Stolen Silver for Sam Thomas hat-trick this weekend. Joel, what's your best bet Saturday, Sunday, please?
Hey, we're going to Weatherby this weekend. 12:43 on Saturday. Novices Chase. Zacconi Rebel for Toby Laws. He's on, I think, about 30% strike rate to the start of the season. He's absolutely flying. He's not got a great string this year as well. This horse, Zacconi Rebel, is a brilliant jumper. On that Chase debut, you think it was like its 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th. You read the Racing Post write-up, and it's not over favourable. But I've watched it a couple of times just to get it right. Got a mark of 129. Absolutely brilliant at Fontwell on Chase debut. The good thing about this is Manila Plus is in there for Hughes and McCain, which will be favourite, which will be great. So I'm hoping for 4-1, 9-2, 5-1, possibly. But Zacconi Rebel, 12:43, Weatherby at Saturday. Novices Chase, that is my bet of the weekend. And before we go, we're always looking out for a conditional or whatever, or a claimer on the flat. And we thought we got one with Ben Ladesea, and then, of course, everyone got onto him. Have you seen the kid at Lucinda Russell's, that Patrick Wadge? He manages to claim 10. Wadge is his surname, Patrick Wadge. I watched him today on Thursday. You cannot tell he's claiming the 10 or the 7. You cannot tell. He's got everything in the couple of rides I've seen him. So look out for him. Racing cliche. He's worth his weight in gold, his claim.
Well, £10 of it anyway.
That's it.
No, I love them. Love names for the future. Always keep an eye out. It's certainly so as Punters as well to follow them when they are claiming. So great to have the boys on board for Cheltenham's November meeting. Whatever you do this weekend, keep an eye on all the races because I say plenty of festival clues are there and lots of festival winners do come out of this November meeting. Whatever you're backing this weekend, then the best luck and please, as always, gamble responsibly.